You would not believe how hard it is to get someone to take a seat out.
You should have been recording for the last 2 minutes that you went over there and asked me to help you take a seat out.
Nothing but griping and complaining.
Hey, one camera at me. It's only because I'm the one that has to walk through the car. Someone's got a bad back.
You're the skinny and agile and flexy one.
Cursed.
First things first, we're gonna pull out the seat, then the carpet, and then cross our fingers that the whole floorboard isn't rotten in places we couldn't see. If it is, we're going to lunch early.
If I fall through, I'm suing. What? Come on, let's take this thing out. I ain't got all day.
We gotta go to lunch.
Yeah. Go through.
Hit me.
Dang, 4 doors got them small doors. Not more doors, it's small doors. That's what
At least you want to be uber careful with this one. Alright, now close the door with your ass.
I'm flat, don't you know?
Up to your position.
Oh, wasn't me. Am I supposed to walk through that hole with this seat?
You're supposed to pick it up.
Golly.
Put your speedboard panties on.
I ain't got any.
Hope there's no hidden rust. Hope there's no weird. Oh, of course there's a rusty one. Come on. Hey. Oh, I need 2 hands for this one. Boop. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Try to clean out the head of the screw. Maybe. Hold your tongue just right. Cross your fingers. Oh, I want to strip it. Come on, baby. Play nice. Play nice. Aha! Yeah. Sometimes when you smack it with a hammer, kind of break the rust molecules that are all holding hands. You can ease it out. All right, moment of truth. Let's see how bad it actually is in here. Oof. Oh, all right, let's see. That kick panel, she's seen better days. Try to be careful with it, but kind of is what it is there. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, what in the world? Puh! Golly, got the asbestos flying everywhere. Oh, that's pretty neat. Oh, fresh air vent coming. Cool the passenger's feet off. For the back seat, maybe. I hate when people glue this carpet down. Gas pedal. She's rusted out. Let's get that out of the way. Maybe not. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's get rid of that. All right, with the carpet out, as you can see, just as bad as we thought it was going to be, but makes for getting rid of the dirt a little easier. We knew it. We saw the accelerator pedal was loose. We saw this hole from the bottom. Luckily, none of the rust goes past the flat area very much. Kind of rolls up onto the toe board a little bit, rolls up onto the trans tunnel just ever so slightly right there. Did get our little air vent for our passenger. That might have to get deleted on. We'll see. We're gonna get all this vacuumed up, see what all is rusty, wiring channel there. We're gonna get this guy out of the way so we can really assess the situation. Now it's time for my favorite, least favorite thing to do, floor pans. They're my favorite because I'm pretty efficient at them and I can knock them out, and I like it. It's, you know, it's a challenge to kind of sort of copy the original stuff and figure out ways around like the harder aspects of it. But it's my least favorite because you get filthy. You have to be down on your hands and knees to do this stuff, and it's a little tedious to do right because let's be honest, safety first. I've seen so many floor pans that are like self-tapered in, patches out of license plates. That isn't gonna fly. I'll walk you through the way I like to do this. I got real lucky on this car. As you can see, we have a little bit here on the passenger side. Now, these holes, 1, 2, 3, those are supposed to be there. They have rubber plugs in them. But we got a hole here, you know, I've scratched around, a little hole there. We're gonna replace a section here. That side's worse, but you know, essentially the same thing. But the back floorboards are nice. I mean, we can still see the factory primer there. The back where the seat went, it's a little scaly, but there's no holes. I poked around with it with a screwdriver. We're just gonna wire brush that and put some rust preventative treatment stuff on it. Be good to go. I'm gonna just show you how I like to do this side. A couple tools I like to use, a couple techniques I like to use. You can take it with a grain of salt. There's so many different ways to do this. I'm just gonna show you the fastest, easiest, most efficient way that I've found to knock out a little floor patch. Got a few tools laid out here. I'm gonna show you the way I like to tackle a task like this. We're gonna clean up with our wire brush. I prefer the cone style wire brushes, but this is the one we have, so that's the one we're gonna use. Clean up the area just to make sure there's no extra holes we've missed. Gets all the scale off, so when we go back with our rust chassis paint, we don't have to worry about any kind of nastiness here that we're missing. Then we're going to go around 4.5 inch grinder with a cutoff wheel, identify the area we want to cut out, cut our perimeter, but there's going to be spot welds. I know this because there's a brace under here, so there should be spot welds across here, spot welds across here, because you can see there's a factory lip, the floor pan right there. And we're just going to replace pretty much from here to there, right across there, in one little patch in that spot, and that'll be perfect for this. Everything you see here is mainly surface rust except for these areas. No point of replacing this whole thing when all of this is really solid. That's the way I'm going to do it. For all the little areas or tricky spot welds, we have a little Harbor Freight chisel, air chisel. All the spot welds we can see, we'll get the Harbor Freight once again. We'll get these on the little spot welds, knock those out. It should come right out. Set you up on a time lapse. 2 questions I've got for the people in YouTube land. Why would someone cut a hole in a perfectly good rust-free floor pan? That's coming up in the next episode. Another question I have is, what in the world is this? Why do we have a shift boot? And for context, under the back seat, a shift boot with no hole in the middle? If you know what that is, let me know, because I honestly have no idea. As for the factory brace here, that guy had to go. Rusty crusty, could have probably cut it and spliced and put some metal in, or we could have dug through the scrap pile, found a piece of 1x3 11 gauge, because the factory brace was it was 3 1/4. Come on, let's be honest, that's close enough. Close in the end, cut our angle, and then we took right here, once I got it fitting where I wanted it to fit, come up through the bushing, marked my hole where the mount would be, took a flange nut, recessed it down in there, stacked some pesos, welded her up. Now, time to put it in place. Don't forget to put your bushing back for your height. Put her back in place, weld it up, time to go to the sheet metal. Now that we have our brace in, time to work on the sheet metal aspect of this repair. I like using just regular old poster board from the Dollar General, Family Dollar, Walmart, wherever. And you just kind of start whittling it out until it's the shape that you like. Now what I'll do is I'll leave like a 1/4 inch bead, or excuse me, flange there. And I'll cut the poster board here to that roughly that size. And you just sneak up on it, just regular pair of scissors, just sneak up on it until you get a shape you like. And always err on just a little bit larger side, because you can always go back and trim the metal down later when we cut it out. Next, you'll get you a piece of sheet metal. I like 18 gauge. Lay your poster board out with a Sharpie, mark your perimeter, and then yeah, just cut it out. You can use a variety of different things. I tend to like the Harbor Freight 10 snips here. They're a little bit of a booger to work. As long as you like put a little bit of WD-40 on the end of it, they seem to slash this 18 gauge pretty well. Just trim around the edges until you, whoop, you have the piece you need. Once you have the piece you need, you can lay it over here on your messy fab table. Actually, back up. Obviously, I've already got a head start on this. Once you have this piece you need, lay it back in the car. Take your Sharpie from the bottom, right? And I want you to trace around your floor brace and any other braces or things in the car that might impede the bead sitting correctly. What I mean by that is you wouldn't want this bead to run through where the floor brace is, because these beads are going to go down. So if the bead went down, it would like hump up over the floor brace. So just mark out where that's going to be, and that's all that's going to be in the way here. We're not going to try to replicate what that was exactly, because those beads are really close together, and the way that the dies are on this machine, it would just squish them. So we just put them where we want to. I like to make little stop marks, kind of give me an idea of where to go. Random one here. Obviously this panel is going to have some shape to it. Like this edge is going to get broken around, this edge will get broken, and it's going to get a little more forming, but you can't roll the beads through the bead roller when it has a lot of form to it. Got to do this first. Now that we have everything drawn out on the panel, this is definitely just a wing it kind of situation. Wasn't any kind of major thought that went into this, just some beads on the panel to make it stiffer and look better. You could easily do this with one of the $150 super simple, what is that, Woodward Avenue or whatever bead rollers that I have and I use for years. But our friend Tracy, he left this over here for us to use while we're working on his truck. I'm sure he won't mind a bead or two ran through it. We're just going to use this regular kind of, I guess, larger beads. Just keep in mind when you're rolling these beads that these dies can be flipped. And obviously when we want the beads to go down, this panel is upside down. So you'd want we call that the convex, yep, convex on the bottom, concave on the top, and it cause it to go up. We'll slide the panel into place on your stop line, wherever you decide that wants to be. You take your little doohickey handle, you get that kind of lined up, something along those lines. And what I do is you run it till you feel like tension, and then you can count the rounds. 1, 1.5-ish. And then this thing, foot controlled, so I don't have to hear Taylor complain about running the manual one.
If that's sitting here, I ain't gonna do no hand crank.
Then, and a cool thing about this one, it has speed controls and everything. Now you can just hit the gas pedal and follow it through. Now, like I said, we set it on 1.5, so we can go over here and look. Oh, you know, like it's leaving a bead, but not much of one. Flipper in reverse. Give it back. So that was 1.5 rounds. So that'd be 2, 2.5. See what that looks like. You could obviously get a little piece to do an experiment with, but yeah, like I said, it isn't that kind of car, so we're not gonna go to that kind of extent. Let's see, 2.5, that's better, that's better. I think we could use a little more though. And what you'll do is you'll just kind of watch the line and center it with the die. Just follow through. Once again, these won't be exact depth and shape as the factory ones. They don't even make factory replacement panels for this thing, so here we are. This is better than what we had. There we go, look at that. See it right there. It's a nice little bead. Add some strength, some character, a couple more, be good to go. Now we come back in the car and lay it down here. You can kind of see, beads. Close enough for the girls we date. Went ahead and, remember, we traced this brace on the other side, so I knew where it was going to be. Went ahead and drilled some holes for that guy. And I want you to keep in mind, remember, the way this floor is put together factory is this panel, back up, this panel laps over this panel and gets spot welded, right? Well, this panel is going to lap over that panel and get spot welded, just like factory-ish. Some people go in and weld, like make it the same exact size, weld in the perimeter, and that's fine. But this is the way the cars were put together factory. This is the way I'm gonna do it. This is a lot faster and easier, in my opinion. Drilled those with a hand drill because obviously you can't really get much over there. Around the perimeter though, we're gonna use this guy. Little Harbor Freight punch flare. You can see it has a little die in there, and you hit the trigger, goes, compresses, and it'll punch a hole out. So you just get it until you bottom it out on the back of the tool, and then you just hit the trigger, pull it out, boom. Nice little 5/16 hole, I think it is. So when we go to set it over here now, and we go to put it down, nice little spot for you to spot weld. We're going to go around, give some of these around the perimeter, every 2.5 inches, 3 inches maybe. Get that. Then we're going to start forming our edges. We'll go back and we'll put a little black Sharpie dot everywhere one of these is, just to make sure we have it ground down to nice clean metal. Then it'll be time to weld. Got everything welded up, turned out really nice. Plug welded all the way around, just like it would have been factory if they were putting a panel in to fix rust. Nice and strong, good to go. Now that that's done, I'll show you some of the products we use here. Actually, before, if you notice around the edges here, it's kind of gold or copper looking. I like to use a copper weld through primer. This is made by Dominion SureSeal. Code, I guess, code part number 24080. Some people like the zinc weld through primer. In my opinion, the zinc makes it splatter too much. The copper is much better for MIG welding, and I believe the zinc is for more of a fusion welding situation. Sim also makes it. I think this is just what they had in stock. All of it's pretty good. The key with this is just make sure it dries really well. I usually give it like 30 minutes before I start welding on it. It just welds better. Now that it's in, we're going to vacuum the area. We're going to go with our chassis saver, antique satin black, number 970. Once again, I'm only assuming that's the part number. You can look it up. Stuff is awesome. You can wire brush all of the rust pit areas, brush it on, spray it on, whatever you like. I prefer brushing it on because in areas like this, or even the factory seams, you can take the brush and kind of just push it under the edges and make sure you get just the paint everywhere. Any of the pits, it just gets in there a lot better, and you can control the thickness of it pretty dang well. I love this stuff. Like I said, wire brush over rust, vacuum this, good to go. Never have to worry about this again. Once this cures, I usually give it overnight at least. Then I come back with a good, only the highest quality seam sealer that you can buy from Home Depot is our Dynaflex Ultra. This is the black. The black's a little hard to find, and it's a little deceiving because when this stuff first comes out, it's actually gray, but it dries. You can kind of see some of the dry stuff at the end. It dries pretty dang black. This will go around all the perimeter. I'm not going to do any of this today because we got a lot of work done. This was awesome, but still got to do that side, and somebody forgot to order more metal. That was me. That's next week's problem. But for now, for this week, that's all we have time for. Saturday afternoon, it's hot, it's time for a knot beer, time to get some air conditioning and kick my feet up. And that's that. Thanks for sticking around. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate the love that we're getting on the first video. This will be the second video of the Buick series. The first video has done really well. I'm glad that y'all are liking it. Maybe you just accidentally clicked on it. I don't know. Either way, good love for that. We appreciate everyone, and we'll see you next time.